everybody. Welcome into the Rant. I am Pugs Moran. We do this every Monday through Friday, round about noon. Is my shit backwards? I don't know. I had to break down the studio. Here at beautiful EGA. It is my. I'm used to going to my left. All right, hold on. I got to do this. How much of a problem is this going to be? Come on in the chat room. I don't see anybody in the chat room yet. How can I be the first person to be in the chat room? That's not normal. All right, here we go. I need to move. Oh, am I going to be playing to my left today? You know what? Instead of just turning this into a whole thing, I'm just going to have to try and go to my left today. That's it. We'll see if we can make that work. Look, we got Christina here. Oh, this sucks. I hate going to my left. This sucks. So can I switch this around? No, you know what? I'm just going to have to get used to it. That's all. All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome into the High Noon Rant. I am Pugs Moran. It's not High Noon. It's the Rant. I did it again. A little bit discombobulated. We should have started right at noon, but I got distracted by something. I'll share with that a moment when we do our small talk segment. Here's what we do on this show. This show is a rundown of all the day's current events, the hot topics, the trends, whatever it is that people are talking about, the shit you need to know. I filter out all the political bullshit. Think of this as sort of a talk radio version of the Jefferson Bible. You familiar with the Jefferson Bible? Coolest thing ever. Thomas Jefferson basically took the Holy Bible and got rid of all the voodoo and magic and silly stuff and just left all the moral lessons and teachings and all that stuff. It's fantastic. So that's kind of what this show is. For talk radio, it's the kind of talk radio that regular radio doesn't allow, because I don't have a political affiliation, because I'm not carrying water for some big corporate interest that wants you, the peasants, the great unwashed, to think a certain way about a certain issue. So they're just going to give you 24 hours a day of people who are going to shove that issue down your throat. That's not what we do here. We're normal people. We just look at the world normally and we react in kind. I don't care how you voted. Doesn't matter. I don't care if you're red. I don't care if you're blue. I don't care if you're black. I don't care if you're yellow. Is that racist? I think that might be racist to still refer to. I don't care if you're a red man. That's racist too, I think. Browntino. I just made up a new word. The show is performed as a stream of consciousness by yours truly. And what is a stream of consciousness? It's a guy just talking, no breaks, no interruptions, no stops, no nothing. Let's see here. Yeah, it's a good point. Edsilla. See how broken Edsilla is? Do you see how broken Edsilla? Edsilla just said, I'm talking about how I'm not political. And Edsilla goes, yet you have an American flag before you. Because you see, in Edzilla's broken world, the American flag somehow represents politics now. No. Taking back the American flag for normal people. Yeah, that's right. I got an American flag behind me. Because I'm an American, because I love this country, because I ain't going anywhere. Ed, making the flag political. All right, so here's what we do here. We run down all the day's hot topics, current events, trends. I told you that. We do it in 4 quarters. It's performed as a stream of consciousness, so the quarters sort of serve as a way for me to stay in the lanes, right? 4 quarters. The first thing we do is we go through all the people, all the events that happened on this day. It's this day in history, antecedently on this day. That's what we call it, because we're fancy like that. Quarter 2 is birthdays. We got birthdays. People, they were born on this day. We know their names. Were they cool or not? That's pretty much it. Quarter 3, that's where we get into deads, people who died on this day. And let me tell you, folks, we've got a wang dang dilly of a death day. Woo! A lot of alliteration there. Wang dang dilly of a death day. Sounds like a country song. A lot of deads, a lot of big deads. And what do we do with the dead segment? That's quarter 3. What we do is we look at their life and we decide whether they went to heaven or whether they went to hell based on what we know of their actions while they were here. Quarter 4 is everything else. Quarter 4 is all the news, the headlines, the hot topics, all of that stuff. All right. Of course, there is a pregame, which we call the small talk segment. Welcome into the small talk segment. This is where for a few moments I try to bond with the humans by speaking of things that are, the glue, the fabric of our very life, the things we can all relate to. Like Guess what, folks? It's Thursday. What does that mean? Game day. Game day. Oh, and we're taking it on the road. That's right. Game day. My son, my 15-year-old son, he plays Texas high school football. He plays junior varsity, so they don't get to play Friday Night Lights. That's next year. He plays junior varsity, so he plays Thursday nights. Sometimes in the fourth quarter, the lights will come on. That's what he plays now. But we got a road game today. We're going up to Prosper. Oh, God. Oh, my God. A 5:30 game in Prosper. Do you know what that's like for someone who, well, if you live in Dallas, you do. If you don't, you don't. It's far. It's like working in downtown Chicago and somebody going, you need to be in South Elgin at 5:30. So, there's a lot that goes into that. It's far is my point. So I got to leave here. Like, if I got to be there at 5:30 in this stupid traffic, I got to go. Oh, but here's the problem with, or not the problem with me going, my car is awesome. My car guy, you take the opportunity when one thing goes. You're like, well, while you're under there, why don't you I had a lot of work done on my car yesterday. Oil changes, fluid changes, tire, new battery, and alternator work and starter, all that stuff. Yeah, so the car's feeling good. Car's feeling better than it has in a long time. So thank you for indulging me yesterday. Went out, woke up, coming into the studio, go out to the car, and battery was dead as hell. So today at 5:30, we're taking on Prosper, my son's team, 3-1 after going undefeated last season. They were really good last year. Now they're 3-1 this year. The only loss of the season came in their last road game. They went on the road. They had no energy. They had started out, with a big victory this season, walked into their first road game in game 2, and they got their asses kicked. They didn't get their asses kicked. They came back and made it a game, but it was bad. It was like 24-0 at halftime, and I'm like, what is going on with our team? Then they came back and they rattled off a couple of really big wins at home. Now we're on the road again, so we're a little bit worried, and we're on the road against Prosper. And Prosper is not a school to be trifled with in Texas high school football. For the varsity, I think, is ranked 8th right now. I'm stupid. I'm like stupid into Texas high school football. And I'm wondering if it's going to stop when my son stops playing Texas high school football. Like, am I going to be able to stop cold turkey? Probably, right? Because I won't give a shit about other people's kids. I'll just be like, my kid's not there anymore. Anyway, so big game tonight. We're very, very concerned. I'm very concerned. The kids playing aren't. They're just like, we're good. We'll kick anybody's ass. I'm like, Prosper. It's a big school. A lot of talent out there in the North cornfields. So we're very excited. That's today. So I'm going to have to leave here right after the show to get into traffic for 2.5 hours. I'm hoping I get up there early. See, because the metric is this. Leave before rush hour traffic. The game starts a half hour after rush hour, and it's in Prosper, and I'm downtown. So, it's just Prosper's about an hour away. You can leave that. You can make it in an hour. Not in rush hour, you can't. Not coming from downtown. It's like 2 hours for me from downtown. So I got to leave before rush hour really builds. So we'll see. Anyway, we were a little bit delayed on today's show, and this is the small talk segment. In earnest, that was all ramp up for the small talk segment. So my son shared with me this morning a little thing. Those of you who listen, you know that I've made myself in charge of my son's cultural education. So he knows movies and music, and he knows cultural stuff and flashpoints in Great American history. But he also knows a lot about his Irish history. Like, I'm trying to beat into him that he is Irish, and he needs to embrace that is a great and cool thing to be, and those people are amazing people, and they've been through a lot. So, like, I try to hammer that into him, and it's taken. I mean, he's like, really? I mean, he's most kids in his class that he goes to school with, they have no idea what they are, unless they're Mexican. For some reason, Mexicans are always like, yeah, I'm Mexican, and I'm very proud of it, but everybody else, find a dude who's like 100% German, who's from Flower Mound, and say, what are you? And he'll go, I'm a Texan. But what else? American? No, you're something. Oh, well. Yeah. Then they go, well, I guess I'm German. So there's nothing wrong with that either. I mean, if your family moves on and wants to, but I enjoy the cultural heritage and passing it down to a kid. And having him learn all about that. So anyway, every week before his games, he shares with me his pump up song. His pump up song. You know, all these kids today, they wear headphones all the time, and so they're constantly like blaring music. And he's had some very, very cool pump up songs. Like, for instance, a mainstay during their undefeated season was Spirit of the Radio by Rush, which is so cool to think that there was a 14-year-old kid with headphones just cranking Spirit of the Radio at full volume before he goes and plays offensive line for 4 quarters. I don't know. I just think that's cool. So he shared with me today's hype song, the song that he is going to listen to in his headphones at full volume. And I'm telling you, it almost made me cry. You guys, it almost made me cry because it is not a popular song. It is a song. It is a song that we know because he knows. I'm a fan of the band Black 47. I don't know if you know who the band Black 47 is. I think they're one of the 5 greatest bands that's ever lived. But Black 47 is basically an Irish protest band. They're from Ireland. All of their songs are about Irish history. All of their songs are about the battles and hating the British and all that. So anyway, they're fun and they're cool. So he sends me this. This is the song that he's listening to today to get pumped up. It's called Big Fella. And I don't know if you know the Black 47 song Big Fella, but it's a history lesson of Michael Collins. Michael Collins, who was the I call him the George Washington of Ireland, a free Ireland. But you know, their movie made Liam Neeson played him in the movie. But anyway, his nickname was Big Fella, and this song is about him. And this is what my son's going to get pumped up to tonight. See if we can hear this. Remember now, this is in his headphones in the locker room.
Laughing with like German through the bullets and the sparks. Always with a smart remark, your eyes blazing blue. When we need a confidence, we always turn to you. When they shot our leaders up against command and woe, you were there beside us in that awful Eastern dawn. Big fella, where the hell are you now? When we need you the most, big fella.
I just can't tell you how fucking cool that is. That my kid is like, yeah, that's what I'm just.
You were there beside us, a towering mighty man, and got up the informer or the hated English spy. Fight chases, make it crucified about the blinking of an eye. Still you had a heart as soft as the early morning dew. Every widow whore could always turn to you. Hey, big fella, where are you now?
Oh man, I'm sorry, but that is such a cool song for him. Only because, you know, it's probably a song that he heard 10 years ago when I was forcing him to listen to stuff. So let's go east. Big game against Prosper. Let's see here. Al said, like the Smiths? No, they're not like the Smiths, but I do like the Smiths. Oh, Al says, cool band, great sound, 80 sound. Yeah, man, Black 47 is one of my favorites. They had like one minor like MTV hit, I think, in the 90s called Funky Kaylee, which is a good song. It's like a really cool song about a dude who knocks a girl up in Ireland and has to go to New York and form a rock band. It's kind of semi-autobiographical of the band Black 47. But that one, Funky Kaylee, is probably their biggest hit. But they've got, man, they're just cool. They're just really cool. All right, let's say hi to the chat room. We like to do that every day before we get rolling. We do have Al here. Hi, Al. We've got Peter, my guy Peter. Peter says, I'm going to put that in my library. Thanks, Pugs. Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, you're appreciate it. Yeah, man, just Peter, I don't know if you're unfamiliar with Black 47, just delve into their shit. Their shit is so cool, and it's about reading the lyrics. You got to read the lyrics. They're all history lessons. They're all about like that song Big Fella is specifically about how Michael Collins went to England and negotiated the deal that partitioned Ireland. It gained freedom for the people of Ireland, but Michael Collins left Northern Ireland behind, and when he returned home, the civil, the brigade, the army, the people that he ruled, they were now split because it wasn't good enough. Fucking Irish, man. Fucking Irish wasn't good enough. So Michael Collins was kind of seen as a bad guy for a period of time. And that's what the song is about. It tells that whole story. It tells the whole story about how you did this, and then we turned on you, and we kind of feel bad, and we pushed you away, and now we need you. And it's a good song. Anyway, there you have it. Jen Hernandez is here. Hi, Jen. Also, let's talk about this. Every day we like to award somebody on this show with the title of executive producer. This came in yesterday. I saw that this was posted yesterday when I didn't even do a show. So thank you so much to Chris. Chris, of course, one part of the Sports Bras. Let's say one half, because they might have other people that they fold in from time to time. The Sports Bras podcast. I'm going to be appearing on that one. I think next week sometime we're going to record it. So thank you so much, Chris. Appreciate that. He is our executive producer today. If you also want to help support the show, please feel free. Drop a little something. And that's all we'll say about that. All right. Let me see. Who else do we have? I want to make sure I don't leave anybody out. I feel like I was the first person in the chat room today. I do. I feel like I was. I think I was because I jumped in. Well, we got Jameson. Jameson says that's some Boondock Saints-ish right there. I remember seeing the Boondock Saints and really liking it. That's a good movie. That's a movie I have to watch again. I'm trying to think now if there's any Black 47 in Boondock Saints. It would totally make sense. I mean, Boondock Saints should be wall to wall, Dropkick Murphys and Black 47. It's a good call, Jameson. I'm not sure. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe they are in there. Who else do we have in the chat room? We got Adam. Adam's here. Adam's back from his trip. Of course, Ed was here earlier, just, throwing shade my way, not loving America. All right, here we go. Are you ready? What do you say we get started with today's show? I'm going to get rid of all of these things because they're ugly and they're crass, and I hate to have to do that to you. So let's just get started with today's show, right? It is the Rant. I am Pugs Moran. This is the RadioMisfits.com. We are Radio Misfits Dallas, coming to you live every day here from the beautiful E-Gallery Studios, the Kelly Moore Memorial Studio in the E-Gallery in beautiful Dallas's Design District. It is the Rant with me, Pugs Moran, for the 26th day. September? Yeah, it's probably important. I know the month. 26th day of September, year of our Lord 2024. Did you know it is the 270th day of the year? There are 96 days remaining until the end of the year. Folks, let me get a drink. Hold on before we get into I'm drinking my Code Mix. Code Mix, so good. I'm questioning its illegality. It is so tasty. I got one can of Code Mix. I got one can of Code Mix left. I bought a bunch of them because I found them at the store, and I'm like, these are good. I'm going to keep them. Down to my last can of Code Mix. We'll make it. All right, let's get started. The very first quarter, as I told you about earlier in the show, the first quarter of today's show, we call that Antecedently on This Day, and it's a look back on all the history that has happened and things that have occurred on this particular day on history, previously on September the 26th. Previously on September the 26th, year of our Lord, 1777, the American Revolution. British troops occupy Philadelphia. I think I learned about this in watching that show, Turn. You guys ever seen Turn? I think it was an AMC show. I don't know where it is now. Turn is one of those shows that I want to, I need to re-binge. It was so good the first time I went through it. Turn is the story of George Washington and the Kuiper spy ring. The Kuiper spy ring were a bunch of farmers in Long Island that created this spy network that fed George Washington information in his guerrilla war against the occupying forces in New York. It's incredibly good. I think it was on for like 4 seasons. These are all real people. Turn. It's one of those shows where you watch it with the Wikipedia page open, because when they introduce a new character, you see their name in the wiki, it's highlighted, and you're like, oh, that was a real person. So you click on that person and you read about what that person did. Turn. Don't know where I can find it. So good. The coolest representation of George Washington ever in a show. The dude who played George Washington, I don't even know who his name, what his name is, because he's just George Washington to me. But he was so badass. Turn. On this day in 1777, British troops occupy Philadelphia. On this day in 1789, let's stay with George Washington. He appointed Thomas Jefferson as the very first United States Secretary of State. Good pick. Although Jefferson was a little bit awkward socially. He wasn't a big talker. He was a writer, as many writers are, kind of quiet, but could definitely put his mind down on paper. Good choice, though. Good choice for Secretary of State. He was a very measured dude. He was a lucid dude. He saw the big picture. I approve of George Washington appointing Thomas Jefferson as our first Secretary of State. Antecedently on this day in 1933, gangster Machine Gun Kelly was gunned down by FBI, and before he shouted, "Don't shoot, G-men." That's where the term comes from. On this day, 1933, the term G-men for feds. Although we don't really still say that, right? Like I think the term G-men now is most frequently used as a nickname for the New York Giants. The G-men. I don't know. Antecedently on this day in 1960 in Chicago, the first televised debate takes place between presidential candidates Richard M. Nixon and John F. Kennedy. This was at the famous McClurg Court Studios in Chicago, studios that when I was very young in radio, I worked in for a couple of weeks. It's where the first televised presidential debate ever took place. And I remember being in there. There's a plaque on the wall, and there's, all kinds of like stuff that it's very in the world of media. It's a very sort of important place. It's hallowed ground. Let's take a look at what that looked like. This was the very first presidential debate to be televised. This comes from McClurg Court, CBS headquarters in Chicago, from 1960. Now, it is important to note that neither of these dudes nobody had ever done a television debate before. And Nixon he was conservative, so he was closed-minded, and he was like, this new thing, I don't want it. And they tried to put makeup on Nixon. They're like, sir, you're going to need some makeup. He's like, God, that's stupid. I don't do that. That's not gonna. And JFK, who was more television friendly and who had done TV interviews and stuff, was like, yeah, put the makeup on me. The lights in McClurg Court made Richard Nixon melt. He appeared to the American public shifty. He looked like he was sweating and nervous. And all of that was because he's a dumbass who's like, this is TV stuff. I ain't going to put any makeup on. And Kennedy looked amazing. They say, and they credit this debate as being what put Kennedy over the top. It was on this day in 1960, let's watch this. The American public got to see a fresh, cool JFK and a sweaty, gross Richard Nixon. Let's see what that looked like.
The United States and their affiliated stations are proud to provide facilities for a discussion of issues in the current political campaign by the two major candidates for the presidency. The candidates need no introduction. The Republican candidate, Vice President Richard M. Nixon, and the Democratic candidate, Senator John F. Kennedy. According to rules set by the candidates themselves, each man shall make an opening statement of approximately 8 minutes duration and a closing statement of approximately 3 minutes duration. In between, the candidates will answer or comment upon answers to questions put by a panel of correspondents. In this, the first discussion in a series of 4 joint appearances, the subject matter has been agreed will be restricted to internal or domestic American matters. And now for the first opening statement by Senator John F. Kennedy.
Smith, Nixon. In the election of 1860, Abraham Lincoln said the question was whether this nation could exist half slave or half free. In the election of 1960, and with the world around us, the question is whether the world will...
Boring! You know, we'd call this, in today's world, we'd call this very low energy. He had very low energy. Anyway, I don't want to watch this anymore. I got bored. We're moving on. All right, let's go. That was on this day in 1960, the first presidential televised debate. And that's it. Nothing happened between 1960 and now. Nothing that I want to waste time talking about. Let's move on to quarter two. Quarter two, we like to call birthdays, or they say it's their birthday. They say it is. I don't know. Excuse me. They claim, like I say, I'm not going to call their moms and ask them. Born on this day in 1932. How about Donna Douglas? You got to love Donna Douglas. Ellie Mae Clampett. Here's why you got to love her. She did a lot of radio in the 1990s. They would do like these conventions where they'd come through town and someone would be like, hey, you want to talk to Ellie Mae Clampett? And we'd be like, yeah, sure. And so, I've interviewed her like 1,000,000 times, Ellie Mae Clampett. Donna Douglas, she's wonderful. She's a nice lady. But here's where I really give her credit. She leaned into the bit. Ellie Mae Clampett, Donna Douglas, doesn't matter how old she was. I probably saw her in her 50s, early 60s, late 50s, something like that. She wore the Ellie Mae outfit all the time. She's doing radio. She shows up. She's just like Ellie Mae Clampett. It was cool. You know who else leaned into the bit like that? Marianne from Gilligan. Yeah, Marianne. Marianne always wore the Marianne outfit. It was cool. Anyway, Donna Douglas, born on this day in 1932. Born on this day in 1945, Brian Ferry. Brian Ferry of Roxy Music. Brian Ferry, very influential British singer, I don't know if he's is he a songwriter? I know he's a singer. I know he's a stylist. I know he's very fashionable. He was the dude that introduced wearing suits. Like you had like the 70s like rock thing where it was, what was 70s rock stage style? Blouses, men in blouses, scarves, that whole rock thing. And then you had the punk, which was, like torn jeans and t-shirts and nipple rings and crazy hair, very dirty looking punk. And then comes along, Brian Ferry, and he's in a suit. He's got a haircut. He's clean shaven. He looks really good. He's going against type. Brian Ferry, born on this day in 1945, Roxy Music. Love is the drug. Born on this day in 1948. Happy birthday to an absolute superstar, a major icon, as big as they get. Between, let's say, 1975 and 1985. As big as it gets. As big as it gets. You put her in league with, what Madonna would do a decade later, maybe. You put her in league with what Taylor Swift is doing now. Ladies and gentlemen, born on this day in 1948, Olivia Newton-John. Let's get physical. She was so big. Hit music. She was on every variety show. And then she was in like big movies. Grease. Actually, how many movies did she do? Because if she only did like 1 or 2 movies and they were Grease and Xanadu, I don't know. Anyway, Olivia Newton-John. How was she? I'm trying to think of Olivia Newton-John. Remember Olivia Newton-John? She was beautiful. I remember that. She's a beautiful, beautiful woman. Really pretty. Like, wow, she's pretty. And what was her body like? Was her body good? How's she doing up top? How's Olivia? Oh, God, wait. How does she die? If she died of breast cancer and I just said that, I'm an asshole. I apologize. We're moving on. Okay, no, we're not moving on. Didn't she have a weird thing with her husband? This is what we do. This is what a stream of consciousness does. I'm now trying to remember if I thought she had a nice body. I physical. She did physical. You know what? I think everything about her was nice. There you go. Let's just move on. God, I'm awkward. Sorry about that. Didn't her husband like disappear? Wasn't that a thing? Like, didn't Olivia Newton-John's husband like go out for a pack of smokes and like never come back? And there was like a problem with like it's like 8 years later, and they're like, "Do we declare him dead?" And then didn't he show back up? Didn't he just? I don't know. We're gonna have to delve into that, but not now. Born on this day, 1948, dead now, very sadly, Olivia Newton-John. Born on this day in 1955. Carlene Carter, country music, American music royalty right there, Carlene Carter. Carlene Carter is, of course, the daughter of June Carter, who would go on to marry Johnny Cash. But Johnny Cash, she didn't marry. June Carter, this is I know you country folks know this, but I wonder if a lot of other folks don't. June Carter didn't marry up when she got with Johnny Cash. Johnny Cash married up when he married into the Carter family, who were like country music, American iconic superstars of the highest tier. The Carter family were big. So when Johnny met June, he was like, It'd be like marrying into the Kardashians and then suddenly becoming really big on your own, separate from the Kardashians. That was a terrible example. This is why I don't do analogies. But my point is this: Carlene Carter is cool. Carlene Carter is name checked in one of my favorite songs. I was talking about how I like Black 47, one of my top 5 bands. Another one of my top 5 favorite bands of all time. Yeah, I'm running out of top 5 favorite bands. I get this. The Bottle Rockets. The Bottle Rockets from Festus, Missouri. Oh, they're so good. The Bottle Rockets have a song where they name check Carlene Carter. Let's listen to it, shall we? Are you guys familiar with the Bottle Rockets? Probably not. Maybe you know one or two of their songs. They've had a couple of songs that were, Radar Gun, I guess, is their like big their big hit song, if they have a hit song. Brian Henneman is, in my opinion, one of the greatest songwriters of all time. This guy is right up there for me with Bruce Springsteen as far as being able to be a poet with words and create an entire picture. Here we go. The Bottle Rockets, name checking Carlene Carter. Let's play this. We'll listen to it. It's a great song. Hold on. Here we go. Oh boy, I missed it. We're going to do it again. Here we go. All right, here we go. Brian Henneman singing welfare music. Your name checks. Carlene Carter.
Quit school when she was 17. Senator on TV calls her welfare queen. Used to be daddy's little girl. Now she needs help in this mean old world. Buys cassette tapes in the bargain bin. Loves Carlene Carter and Loretta Lynn. Tries to have fun on a Saturday night. The Sunday morning don't shine too bright. It's welfare music. Just watch the baby dance to the welfare music. Will she ever stand a chance? Takes two to make three, but one ain't here still. Chasing women, drinking beer. Says nobody understands how he feels. But that don't pay them monthly bills. An angry fat man on the radio who wants to keep his taxes way down low. Says there ought to be a law. The angriest man you ever saw. It's welfare music. Just watch the baby dance to the welfare music. Will she ever stand a chance?
All right, there you go. the great Brian Henneman. Love that song, Welfare Music. I got a thing for outlaw alt country where it's just like real insurgent and they're just real people and they're pissed off. And not only are they pissed off, but they're smart. That dude is so smart, Brian Henneman. The way he writes. You guys know Radar Gun? You guys, please. This show's going to get banned on so many different levels. I've already played a whole bunch of music that I don't think we can play. But, we'll be all right. Here, this is, see if you know, here, this is one. See if you know this one. This is probably their most recognizable song. Oh, wow. This song is not available. Why is that song not available? Hold on. Well, now I need to know why that song isn't, why Radar Gun isn't available. Oh, well, doesn't matter. It's probably just saved up from some kind of strike from YouTube for playing music. I don't. Come on, it's got to be available somewhere, right? Fine. You know what? Fine. I don't need you, Spotify. Hold on. Is this the real video? I don't know if that's the actual video. All right. Here's a better example of the Bottle Rockets. Why I think they're so great. You might know this song. This is probably their most recognizable song. Here we go. Boom. Also, by the way, the best driving song of all time. But better than the other Radar. What's the other one that they all say is like the best driving song of all time? It's not the what is it? It's also about a radar gun, isn't it? Isn't it some Radar Love? That's what it is. Fuck you, Radar Love. This song is so much cooler to drive to. If you're driving right now, I envy you. All right. Yeah. A little bit hot on the mic there. Sorry about that. We don't need to play any more music. Why is my mic so hot all of a sudden? What happened there? There we go. All right. Let's move on. What else? Let's see. Birthdays. That was a lot for Carlene Carter. Happy birthday, Carlene Carter. Country music royalty. How did we get there? Oh, I know, because they got name checked in the welfare music song, and I always think of Carlene Carter whenever I listen to the Bottle Rockets. Okay, moving on. Born on this day in 1956, also celebrating a birthday. How about Linda Hamilton? Would you? Wait, okay, hold on. Stop. I always get them confused. One is the woman who was married to James Cameron, who was from Terminator, and the other is the very short lady from Poltergeist. Linda Hunt. Linda Hunt is the tiny lady from Poltergeist. Linda Hamilton is the other one. Remember for Terminator 2, she got all buff, and she was like, they treated her like she's the first woman in the history of the world to lift weights. Look at her. She's got muscles. And now she looks like every woman who works out or cross trains or whatever looks like Linda Hamilton looked in 1994. When the whole world was aghast at how she had transformed. She looks manly. She looks masculine. Women aren't supposed to have muscles on their shoulders. That's what they did to her. She got ripped for like Terminator 2. But as I say, now she looks like every mom who does yoga 4 times a week. Born on this day in 1958, Darby Crash. Darby Crash. We're not going to spend a lot of time on Darby Crash, but he is a seminal figure in the American punk rock culture and music. Darby Crash and Pat Schmier formed the Germs, who would become incredibly important to a whole bunch of other. It's why Pat Schmier still has work. It's why he's in the Foo Fighters now, because he was in the Germs then with Darby Crash. Darby Crash. He OD'd. Darby Crash OD'd. He OD'd heroin or something like that. No surprise. Kind of should have figured. Darby Crash of the Germs, born on this day in 1958. Born on this day in 1966, old Craig Ironhead Hayward. Oh, you like football in the 90s? You like NFL football from the 90s? Do you like old Pittsburgh Steelers? Do you like Craig? I do. I always loved Craig Ironhead Hayward. Played for the Steelers most notably, but then also played for the Chicago Bears for a bunch of years. He was our Ironhead for about 4 seasons or so. His kid, Cam Hayward. How great of a story is this? So anyway, Ironhead Hayward, Craig Hayward, was born on this day in 1966. He's dead. He died about 20 years ago. He died of cancer, poor guy. Great football player, great teammate. Everybody loved him. The Pittsburgh Steelers loved Craig Ironhead Hayward so much, they drafted his son, Cam, in the first round. No, I know. You don't like somebody so much that you take their progeny in the first round. Cam Hayward is obviously really good, but that's his dad. That's why Cam Hayward plays with a thing that says Ironhead on his helmet and to his dad. And he got drafted by his dad's same team. How cool is that? It's like second generation Haywards there, and they're both good. Happy birthday, Ironhead, born on this day in 1966. Craig Hayward, born on this day in 1972. Beto O'Rourke. Whatever happened to that dude? Remember that guy was around? Here's what happened to that guy. That guy, have you ever heard the saying that pioneers get the arrows, settlers get the land? Okay, that means, the first people that go in somewhere, they got to fight for it, and they take a lot of damage fighting for it. And then once the land is done and they've done fighting for it, they are oftentimes unable to truly enjoy it. And that's where the settlers move in and they take over the land. As far as those liberals here in Texas are concerned, you got to be looking at Beto O'Rourke like, more pioneer than settler. You got to be looking at Colin Allred now. He's settling the land that Beto O'Rourke's been trying to beat Ted Cruz for like 10 years now. And not to say that he couldn't if he ran again this time. I don't know. But here's what I do know. There has been 10 years of deriding, of marginalizing, of humiliating, of mocking, of just making the name Beto O'Rourke in the minds of normal people sound like, well, he's been cucked. He's like, oh, Beto O'Rourke, the name is dirty. I don't know what kind of political capital he has in Texas anymore, because it has been 10 years of people on the right who don't like him demonizing him. So he's done. See Hillary Clinton. Clinton's done. All the people are all done. This is what happens. You become a beacon of a certain political ideology in a place, and the enemy of that ideology then has all the time in the world to just, tell people about what a dick you are, how you cut in line, you don't return your shopping carts, all that stuff. You can't throw out your straw wrapper at the 7-Eleven. You just leave it on the counter to get fucking wet. That's what they've had 10 years to paint Beto O'Rourke as. So he's gone. National. That's all he's got now. He's only got national. He's not going to win in state. He can't win in Texas. People know him, and people have ideas of who he is, right or wrong. They've been, you poison the well. That's what it's called. And it's not just the right that does that to left candidates. In blue states, the left does it to right candidates. It's the same thing. But Beto O'Rourke was definitely a pioneer, and he got the arrows, and now it looks like this Colin Allred dude is settling the land. Allred could beat Cruz. I'll tell you, I know the race is really tight here in Texas for Senate, Ted Cruz, and Texans don't like Ted Cruz. That's the thing. They don't know this Colin Allred guy. They don't really want to vote for him, but also people who should just be, out there ardently supporting and voting for Ted Cruz, they're not doing it with the passion and the gusto because they really don't like the guy, because he's an unlikable guy. This Colin Allred dude, he looks a little sus as well. He looks a little like, I don't want to say. You ever seen that actor who his eyes look like they go in two different directions? He often plays big thugs in prison movies. That's who Colin Allred reminds me of. That big actor guy with the shaved head, and he's always in an orange jumpsuit, and he's like scary. He's like, they bring him in to scare you in the scene in prison, and it's like, he's got eyes that go in different directions. That is Colin Allred to me. Ted Cruz is just a whole other thing. I don't know about that guy. Here's one of the reasons why I say I think Ted Cruz really should be upset. I reported this yesterday to a friend of mine. So in Highland Park, which is as dark red as they come, Highland Park, Texas, one of the great Republican conservative bastions. In Highland Park, between Inwood, this is on Mockingbird. Jesus, if you're not even from Dallas, you're like, what? But here's how I gauge it. On Mockingbird, through Highland Park, between Inwood and Preston. Okay, so if you can think about where that is, that's a big stretch of the main drag of Mockingbird through Highland Park. SMU is, just over the Dallas Country Club is right there. It's 4-0. What do I mean it's 4-0? Between that area, Mockingbird between Inwood and Preston, Mockingbird between Inwood and Preston, it is 4-0. 4 obviously liberal voters have signs out. None have Trump signs. It's 4-0. Harris Waltz over in Highland Park on Mockingbird. See these Harris Waltz signs, and then you see the Colin Allred sign that is with it. I think Ted Cruz might be in trouble. I mean, there's no way Harrison Waltz win Texas, but Colin Allred getting all of these signs in Highland Park? Well, I don't know why I'm playing that. That's maybe a good thing for him, I guess. I don't know. Interesting. This election is interesting. That's how I do it. I just count the signs. The block that I live on, very Trump. There's a blow up Trump guy. Told you about that. There's a dude that's got a big Halloween decoration. It's a blow up Trump going like this. It's kind of awesome. It's kind of funny. It's like, because he just keeps going. I don't know if I wanted to be taken as a serious world leader and all that I would allow my likeness to be turned into a lawn ornament that people get chuckles over because they go like this. And it's also a big fat lawn ornament. So it's like, it's like he's round. It's like he's round Trump. So I don't know. That's not flattering. I don't know why because the money. That's why he liked it. Because the money. Because obviously he sold them in the Trump store. Beto O'Rourke, born on this day in 1972, born on this day in 1981. Serena Williams, she plays tennis. Some say she's the best ever. I don't follow tennis because I like girls. What did that mean? I don't know what that means. I just don't follow tennis. Here's why. Here's the truth why I don't follow tennis. I get tired just watching it. They just run in short spurts for like 10 yards this way, 10 yards. I don't like it. It doesn't seem like anything that could even remotely be enjoyable. Pickleball, that's something I've never played, but maybe I'll look into. Why? I'm not looking into pickleball. The hell do I think I am? I'm sitting here looking into a camera telling you people that I'm going to look into pickleball. That ain't happening. And no knock on it. I'm sure it's fun. It just... You know what sport I like? A couple of months back, I don't know if you remember, we were talking about this. We went out to this, a whole bunch of us went to this place in Plano. It's like called Foaling, football and bowling. We told you about this. I want to go do that again. That place was awesome. It's like bowling pins, right? So you got all these bowling pins, and you're like 20, 30, you're like 30 yards away from the bowling pins that are set up like bowling pins are. You're like 20, 30 yards away from, and you got a big bucket of footballs, and you got to throw footballs, and you got to knock down all the bowling pins. Sounds easy, right? It ain't. It's not easy. It wouldn't become a sport if it was easy. You would think it sounds easy. It ain't. I'd play that. If that sport became popular, I would play that because I think that's a fun sport. All right, let's move on. Those are the birthdays, everybody. Serena Williams, born on this day. Tennis. See, that's how we got into it, because of tennis. Serena Williams, born on this day in 1981. Let's move on to the deads. Here we go. These are the people who've died. These are the people who've died. I promised you a very good people who died segment today. First and foremost, one of my all-time favorite guys. Geez, am I overstating it a little bit? He couldn't possibly be one of my all-time favorite guys. I like him. I like him a lot. And as somebody who has worked in radio and somebody who has dabbled in voice work, and by the way, I'm trying to do more voice work. If there's anybody here in town who has any connections, anybody that I can talk to, I'm not looking for a handout. I'm just looking to talk to somebody. What do they need? Who do I need to talk to? I want to do more voice work. I did cartoons over at Funimation for a while. In Chicago, I did stuff. Kelly and I had a National American Express commercial that aired on radio. Anyway, voice work. This is like the king of voice work. This is known. I mean, he's known as the voice of God. Is he dead on this day? Yeah, he's dead on this day. He's dead on this day, and we have to decide whether or not he goes to hell or heaven. Here's who we're talking about. We are talking about the great John Facenda. Do you guys know who John Facenda is? Well, as I mentioned last week when we were talking about Steve Sable, was it Steve Sable or was his dad? I don't know what. We were talking about one of those guys in NFL films and how important NFL films was to me as a kid in the 1980s. You'd wake up, specifically, you'd record it on your VCRs, or we didn't have VCRs back then. Yeah, we did. We had VCRs. We didn't have DVRs. Anyway, I had NFL film tapes, written on it. NFL films. It would be Earl Campbell and Tony Dorsett. I'd have like whatever they are. It was John Facenda who was the narrator. He is most famous for his "The Autumn Wind is a Raider" speech, which is so cool. So we're going to watch this and we're going to decide. John Facenda, he died on this day. What year did he die? He died on this day in 1984. Where'd he go? Heaven or hell? The autumn wind is a raider.
The autumn wind is a pirate, blustering in from sea. With a rollicking song he sweeps along, swaggering boisterously. His face is weather-beaten. He wears a hooded sash, with a silver hat about his head, and a bristling black mustache. He growls as he storms the country, a villain big and bold. And the trees all shake and quiver and quake as he robs them of their gold. The autumn wind is a raider, pillaging just for fun. He'll knock you round and upside down and laugh when he's conquered and won.
I had trouble on that. I couldn't turn it off, and it was still going really loud in my headphones. The autumn wind is a raider. John Facenda, he's going to heaven. He's too cool. He's too cool to not go to heaven. John Facenda, the voice of God. NFL films, John Facenda, dead on this day in 1984. Dead on this day. Okay, so here we're going to do another one. We're going to watch another video. All right, so I told you that me and the gang over at Radio Misfits, and by that I mean me and Ed, we're doing a new podcast. Hopefully we'll start recording it pretty soon because I am chomping at the bit, as they say. We're doing a new podcast. It's going to look at the 1970s. Not even, is it a cult show? I don't know. I don't know if it's a cult show. It was a hit show. I mean, it was on for a number of years. It was certain Soap. We're talking about the ABC television series Soap, which I maintain is one of the most important sitcoms in the history of television. It went places that other sitcoms on network TV and primetime did not go to. It is incredible. And dead on this day in the year 2000, the funniest person on that show, ladies and gentlemen, Richard Mulligan, passed away on this day. Richard Mulligan, he played Burt Campbell. He was also on Empty Nest, right? So if you don't remember Soap, but you do remember Empty Nest, which was like a Golden Girls spinoff. I never saw Empty Nest. I wasn't. But Richard Mulligan as Burt Campbell. Holy crap, was he funny. I'm working my way into a place where I'm going to say that he's my favorite television character of all time. And I don't know that, that's Tony Soprano type character at this point. That's Admiral Adama area. Burt Campbell from Soap. Funniest, maybe? Oh, man. How do I do funniest? Will Arnett in Arrested Development is really funny too. Anyway, let's watch just a little bit of Richard Mulligan. This is from Soap. If you're unfamiliar with Soap, it was a parody, a 1970s ABC television parody of what television soap operas were. Okay, so it was supposed to be very melodramatic, and very, very straight, very, very love and romance and cheating and all of these kinds of things. Okay, that's what it was. But it fucking went places, which I guess regular daytime soap operas went really weird places with he's the evil twin and it's Bigfoots and all that kind of. I guess they did weird stuff like that on daytime TV. Well, they did it on primetime as well. Burt Campbell was abducted by space aliens. Let's watch this. This is Burt. This is the episode. This is one of my favorite storylines from Soap. When the aliens got involved in the television show Soap. Let's watch this performance by the late, great Richard Mulligan, who I believe might be one of the funniest TV characters of all time ever. Here we go. Burt meets the aliens from Soap.
Calm. Stay calm. Just stay calm here. And just analyze the situation. One of three things is going on here. Either I'm dreaming I'm on a spaceship, or I'm on a spaceship, or I'm crazy. I'm dreaming.
This is what happens when you eat pizza in bed. It's time to wake up, though. Wake up, Bert. 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 Hey, Bert. Wake up, Bert. Bert. Come on, rise and shine, Bert.
Crazy's looking good here. Sir, hey, pal, excuse me, Senor, pardonnez-moi, por favor. Where am I?
Just relax, we will not hurt you. You're on our spaceship.
Oh, gracias. Muchas gracias. I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy. I'm on a spaceship.
All right, there you go. That's enough. That's enough of Bert meeting the space aliens. Let me put it to you this way. If the question is, did Richard Mulligan go to heaven or hell? He went to heaven. Of course he did. Richard Mulligan, Burt Campbell from Soap. So funny. Dead on this day in the year 2000. Dead on this day in the year 2003. Another person who's got a very important place in my life on a regular basis. I will be utilizing the vocal stylings of this individual later this afternoon. I told you earlier, my kid's got a football game today, so I'm going to show up. I'm probably going to get there early, because I'm going to leave it's very far away. So I'm going to leave right after here in the design district. I'm going to head all the way up to Prosper. The game is at 5:30. But my son and I have a tradition, and I've told you about this. Well, why not? We're playing music, so this show's already not going to be. Hold on. Do this. Yep. Okay. All right. So I told you about how I have this thing with my son where if I'm picking him up somewhere, I crank the radio and I pull up. And I'll be doing this today. I'll be doing it today. I'm hoping to get there early before the bus, and I'll sit in the parking lot and I'll wait for his team bus to show up. And as they're getting off the bus, I will be sitting. I might even like lean against the hood of my car, my Malibu, by the way. I might like lean against my Malibu. I'll have the windows down, maybe the doors opened, right? So when him and his teammates come off the car, come off the bus, yeah, this is what they're gonna see: me leaning against the Malibu. Yeah. What's up? We're gonna win tonight. Go Panthers! Just a joke that I play on my son. He loves it. He's like at first he was like, "Don't you dare do that," and now I do it every time. And he's like, "All right." So he's liable to get off the bus dancing, which would be cool. Robert Palmer, singer of that song. Oh, why is this our song? This is our song because my son and I love the television show What We Do in the Shadows. And Laszlo, when Laszlo the vampire had to go on the lam, he had to leave the sanctuary that he and the vampires had in Long Island. So he went on the lam and he ended up in like rural Pennsylvania. He opened a bar and he became what Jackie Daytona, real American bar or real human bartender. And this was his song. So that's become like getting my song. So yeah, so I'll be playing that. And again, if there's any question about whether or not Robert Palmer, lead singer of the Power Station, right? And then he had solo stuff. I don't know what Robert Palmer did before. I know he had solo stuff before Power Station. Do you guys remember the Robert Palmer? Here, you know what? Why not? Why not? Do you remember the Robert Palmer song that was like on early MTV? What was that song called? Trying to see where the other Robert. What was that song called? Robert Palmer. Let's look at Robert Palmer. Let me see if I can find that. Because he did have one song that was kind of famous. All right, here we go. Greatest hits. You would think it would be there. Oh, wow. He's got a lot of hits, man. I guess, well, yeah, I mean, yeah, Power Station had some stuff, right? Here, maybe this is it. I think this was it. Got some real Huey Lewis vibes to it, doesn't it? This is Robert Palmer, Looking for Clues. And if I remember the MTV video, remember when there were only like 8 videos? There was a time when there was only like 8 bands who had made videos, and they were like the first that were all over MTV in the first couple of weeks of MTV. Well, this was one of them. And it was Robert Palmer kind of playing the floor is lava game, you know, the floors, except he was doing that on giant blocks, like children's blocks with, I don't know. The song was kind of a banger though. But you're lying to yourself. You're lying to yourself if you're not listening to this and hearing Huey Lewis. This song came out probably, I don't know, 3-4 years before Huey Lewis and the News broke. I bet you old Huey was listening to this going, hey man, we got to put something together that sounds like that. That's a fucking awesome music bed. That's a really good, I don't know what I would use that music bed for, but that is a good bed.
It's crazy, but I'm frightened by the sound of the telephone.
Robert Palmer, Clues. Man, he was much. Yeah, man, he's got a lot of stuff.
We want to multiply. Are you gonna do it?
Power Station. Here's another good one. All right. Undeniable all-time banger. More and more respect for Robert Palmer as this segment proceeds. Whoa! Great rock and roll voice, too.
A hot summer night, you feel like a net. I've got to find my baby yet. I need you to soothe my head, turn my blue heart to red. Doctor, doctor, give me the news. I got a bad case of loving you. No pill's gonna cure my ill. I got a bad case of loving you.
All-timer. That's an all-time. That's a good groove, man. That's a really good groove. And of course, come on now. Come on. How did I bury the lead? Spelled L-E-D-E. Say what you will about the 80s. Great guitars. These are great guitar sounds. These are amazing guitar sounds. The lights are on, but you're not home. Your will is not your own. Oh, come on. Might as well face it. You're addicted to love. Robert Palmer is absolutely in heaven. You might be wondering, how did a rock star the caliber of a Robert Palmer, how did he pass away? Was it typical rock star death? No. Robert Palmer, 54 years old, just wrapped up doing a morning television show and dropped dead of a heart attack. Heart disease for Robert Palmer, 54 years of age. All right, Robert Palmer, he went to heaven. Now here we go. This is the biggest of the big O's. Dead on this day in 2008. Depending on when you ask me, he is always 1, 2, although sometimes 3. He is top 3. My favorite all-time movie stars. Dead on this day in 2008. He's going to heaven. Let's stop fucking around with that. He's also my favorite maker of spaghetti sauce. He's my favorite maker of ranch dressing. He is my favorite maker of popcorn. Everything Paul Newman did was awesome. So Paul Newman is absolutely going to heaven. Now, here's the question, though, about Paul Newman. We've done drafts. Come on. He's got a birthday and a dead day every year. He's got 2. He's got one day we do the show for 3 years. So we've covered him ad nauseum. We've done Paul Newman drafts. But let's once again just look at his filmography. Just to remember how incredibly prolific Paul Newman was. His movies were all awesome. What is his best film? What is usually my number 1 film? I don't know. I can't find his filmography. You know why? This son of a bitch did so much. Paul Newman did so much. There we go. Paul Newman on screen and stage. He did so much that his Wikipedia page is like, you'd think he was Napoleon. I mean, his Wikipedia page is huge. All right, let's look. His movies. First of all, let's go to 1956. Somebody Up There Likes Me. You guys know this movie? Awesome, incredible movie. He plays Rocky Graziano. True story of boxer Rocky Graziano. Somebody Up There Likes Me. What else did he have here? Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. I guess that's something. I never saw it. It seemed like an old person movie to me. Exodus. Oh, God, look at he's doing massive blockbusters, and it's only 1960. This is a dude who was doing massive blockbusters in the 90s. Let's see here. What was his best? What do you think it was his best decade? That's what we would do. We would have to look at Paul Newman's career by decade. 1967 has Cool Hand Luke. I don't know how we rate a Paul Newman film higher than Cool Hand Luke. I don't know. God, that's so awesome. Cool Hand Luke. What else? Winning. It's another good movie. Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, 1969. My God. We're not even at 1970 yet, and we've got like 5 all-timers in his filmography. The Sting. All right, you get out of town with The Sting. Towering Inferno, get out of town. This guy is just one hit movie after another. We're not even at like, the real powerful shit. Slapshot, look at that. Slapshot, 1977. Fort Apache, The Bronx, 1981. Even when Paul Newman just did movies that were like, not critically acclaimed, he's going to get an Oscar for it. Even when he just did regular people movies, he was fucking awesome. Have you ever seen Fort Apache, The Bronx? That movie is awesome. Let's see. Color of Money. Fat Man and Little Boy. Blaze. Paul Newman. Ladies and gentlemen, Paul Newman is going to heaven. I mean, how does he not? His freaking ranch dressing is the best. It's not just because it's Paul Newman ranch dressing. It just pound for pound, it is like the most delicious ranch dressing in the world. Better than Hidden Valley? Yeah. By the way, you guys know the story about ranch? It's so boring. No, Pugs, we don't know the story about ranch dressing because only a fucking serial killer would. Do you know that like Hidden Valley Ranch is really the only ranch dressing? Everything else is just like, stealing the name or Hidden Valley Ranch. It was like a special thing that was created at a place called the Hidden Valley Ranch. It was a dressing. It was the Hidden Valley Ranch was like a dude ranch or something in Southern California. And so the people that would come on vacation and stay there, they would get fed food, and they had a special dressing that they used. And they just called it the house dressing at the Hidden Valley Ranch. And that's why we now call it ranch dressing. I don't know. I don't know why we need to know the history of ranch dressing, but so many of you are such big ranch dressing enthusiasts. I thought I'd bring it up. All right, that's going to do it, folks. That's all of them. That's a very big. We went through a really big segment today with all the prerequisites. Seriously, it's an hour and 17 minutes, and we haven't even gotten to the top stories. All right, so let's do that. All the top stories. All right. Once again, I'd like to thank our executive producer of today's show. He's Chris from the Sports Bras. Can you guys all in the chat room do me a favor right now? Can you go to YouTube and can you subscribe and like to Chris? He's one of us. This is how we help each other. So like, follow, all of that stuff. Chris, you can tell him how to do it. I'm not going to, but there you go. Thank you to Chris, our executive producer. And I also saw that we got another fairly nice tip that came in this morning. Fairly nice. I don't mean to deride it. A fucking great tip. I don't know why I chose that word. Another very nice tip came in this morning. So I think we already have an EP for tomorrow. So thank y'all. All right, let's talk about what's happening in the world here today. Hurricane Helene. Hurricane Helene is a hurricane. Her name is Helene. Oh, I've been watching any real coverage of this. It seems like, all right, here's what I'm getting from the media. It seems to me that the media really wanted to go like wire to wire with coverage of this hurricane, but then, something happened in New York City. So the entire media industrial complex all went, stop, We only must focus on what's happening in New York City now because what happens in New York City affects. So they all sort of bailed on their hurricane coverage. But maybe that's ramping up now. Like if I was to switch over here, let me see. If I switch over to the news, will they be doing hurricane coverage? I know. Look at me. I'm Xing out of the flag. What kind of an asshole am I? There we go. Let's see. Are they doing hurricane coverage or are they still talking about New York City? New York City, because people in Nebraska give a fuck about the mayor of New York City. That's important. We need to dedicate the next 10 hours of coverage to this because he's the mayor of New York City. Can you tell where I'm going? Well, let's see. What do we got? Another ad? All right, I don't know. We'll leave this on anyway. We'll go back to the flag. I just want to see if there's any hurricane coverage. Oh, skip? Fine. Oh, they're in a commercial break. You know what? I don't have time for this stuff. Boom. We're just going to go back with the American flag. Because we love America. All right. Different flag, right? Different flag. Look at me mixing it up. That one's blowing in the wind. I don't like this flag. I like the other one. Ugh. Oh, now how do I find the flag? Where's the flag? All right, here's what we'll do. No. Hold on. Where do I want to go? There it is. American flag blown. Which one was mine? Is that the one I was at? Yeah, bitches. There we go. Sorry, Glory. Sorry, my glory. I'll never do that again. I'll never leave you in mid-show. Anyway, there's a hurricane. I guess it's going to happen tonight. We'll see if the CNNs and all that, if they decide to break away from their coverage of something that's happening to New York and happening to New Yorkers. We'll see if they'll break away from that and cover the Florida situation. Hurricane Helene, I guess it's going to be a big one. I don't know what it's at right now. Earlier this morning, it was a Category 2. They say it's going to be a Category 4 when it makes landfall somewhere. Well, here, I'll read it to you. Hurricane Helene to roar ashore in Florida's Big Bend as a Category 4. As the hours tick away before Helene strikes Florida late Thursday night. What does that mean? What does late Thursday night mean? Because I think if I wasn't really thinking about it, I'd be like, oh, it's going to happen late Thursday night, then that means like 3 in the morning. But no, 3 in the morning isn't late Thursday night. 3 in the morning is early Friday morning. So is late Thursday, like 10 o'clock? 10, can we be watching this on TV, 10 o'clock Eastern time? 9 o'clock our time? That's prime time for us. I'm just trying to plan. Just trying to see what we're going to have to watch. As the hours tick away, Thursday night, expected to hit life-threatening conditions and the potential for widespread hurricane property damage. It will strengthen quickly and become a major hurricane. It's going to hit around Pensacola. I guess that's where they'd be. Somewhere it's going to hit between Pensacola and Tampa. Let's take a look. Hold up. Let's go and let's see what it looks like. Oh, yeah, that doesn't look good. That doesn't look good. All right, here we go. So, all right, let's look at this. All right, so here we go. All right, so this is Florida. You can see it's got a giant. Let's go in a little bit. It doesn't look. Is Google Maps screwing me? Everything's always screwing me. All right, so they say it's going to hit somewhere in here, right? So I guess it's coming barreling up here. It's going to hit right here. Let's pull out a little bit again. You can see, the whole area is under clouds, but all right, there you go. Hurricane. We don't live there. If you do live there, first of all, cool that I've got somebody in Pensacola. But if you do live there, get out these people. I'm going to ride this one. Just leave. This is why I won't live in a hurricane. Okay, I got a couple rules, right? I'm not going to live anywhere where there's bears. If like there are bears in the area and like people are just like, you got to look out for them bears. No, I don't want to live an existence where I have to look out for them bears. I grew up on the south side of Chicago. There are plenty of things that I'm used to looking out for when out in public, but I am not looking out for bears, okay? That is not, I don't need to add that to my list of concerns. I always tell this story about my friend who lives in Wisconsin. He was talking to me on the phone, and he was in his driveway. He was talking to me while he was driving home. And he pulled in, he lives in a very wooded area, and he pulls into his driveway, and he's like, oh, shit. He's like, I gotta sit here. And he's talking to me on the phone. He's being real casual, and he's like honking his horn. I'm like, what are you doing? And he goes, fucking, there's a bear in my driveway. And I'm like, a bear is in your driveway? So you're moving? You're going to move, right? I don't get it. All right, so we got bears. I don't want to live where there's bears. I also don't want to live where there's hurricanes. I'm not going to live anywhere where my house could blow away. That's not an option. It's not an option. Oh, it's beautiful here. Of course, my house could blow away. I'm a Midwestern guy. I can deal with tornadoes because, tornadoes, that's numbers. That's like, what are the odds that it's going to take the exact track into my house? Am I willing to live a life where I'm gambling with just a rando tornado coming by and hit me? I'm willing to live with that. Those are acceptable odds. Oh, geez, look, something happened here. Oh, my God. Hold on. The button's stuck again. Hold on, guys. Yeah, the old podcast box seems to have locked up on me. How does it sound? Has the sound been affected in any way? Because the thing that we put the microphone through seems to not be working. So just let me know, won't you? Eric says, I've experienced a Chicago blizzard one time. Absolutely awful. Yeah, they're fine. But you want to know what? A blizzard isn't a problem because, one, they tell you long ahead of time, right? Well, I guess they do that with a hurricane too. But a blizzard, they can even tell you there's going to be a big blizzard next week. But with a blizzard, you don't have to get out of town. Like the blizzard isn't going to blow my house away. The blizzard is, people in the Midwest who that sometimes a blizzard is nice. Because you know what a blizzard means? It means 2 or 3 days where you don't leave the house. 2 or 3 days of you walking around at 2:00 in the afternoon in your jammies with a bowl of cereal, getting ready to watch it. Sometimes blizzards can be nice. This damn thing. I just tried to. All right, let's keep going. There you go. The Hurricane Helene. It's supposed to hit Florida at some point tonight. They say it's a serious hurricane, but really, I can't tell with these things, and neither can you, because they tell us every one of them. Every one of them is going to be. This is going to be big. It's going to be so bad. Storm surges. It's always very overly dramatic. So. I don't know what to believe. Let's talk about the mayor of New York City, Eric Adams. Eric Adams has been indicted on five charges. We could go through the list of charges, but that's not what we do here. So I'll just tell you, he was taking money from the Turkish people. The Turkish people apparently, so long story short, Turkish people wanted a really cool embassy in a part of town where the embassies weren't being zoned for. And the Turkish people were like, no, but we really want our embassy to be over there. And Eric Adams, when he was running for mayor, essentially, they went, hey, if you give us X amount of dollars, we'll make sure you can have your embassy. And that's what happened, or one of the things. That's just sort of the major one. The initial conversations began over an embassy in the New York City zoning, and could Eric as mayor make it possible for the Turks to be able to have an embassy where they wanted one, or a consulate, or whatever it was. I got to be honest with you. I'd love to sit here and tell you my thoughts on Eric Adams, but he's the mayor of fucking New York City, and I don't know the first thing about him, nor should I. Why should I? Unless I was just looking to hate a politician from the other party. Right? Like people in Iowa who are like, let me tell you something about Eric Adams. Why the fuck do you know anything at all about the mayor of New York City? You fucking weirdo. Doesn't affect you in any way. He's not a national presence. He's the mayor of New York City, and it sounds like he's a criminal. Sounds like he's a shifter sin. Former cop. I know that about him, right? He was a cop. He was a cop for a bunch of years. And there you have it. He's been indicted. Now, here is what's interesting to me about this, though. And I need my MAGA friends to check in on this. I need my MAGA friends to give me an answer to this question. Trump says that the Department of Justice is just crooked and they're coming after him. And this is about Democrats trying to lock up, high profile him. Let's just call it what it is. So that's what he always says. They're coming after me. They're not legitimate. The Department of Justice don't trust the FBI. Nothing they say is true, blah, blah, blah. So, okay. So my MAGA boys, if you believe that, and I'm not saying that you do, you don't have to believe everything that comes out of that dude's mouth because that would be nuts. But if you believe that, if you do believe that Trump is completely innocent of all this stuff and all of these charges that the Department of Justice is bringing against him are all trumped up for political reasons because that's what they are. They are an instrument of the Democratic Party. If that's your belief, then please explain to me how we've had three major political presidents. The three major political personalities have been taken down recently. Two of them are Democrats. Trump is the only one. They took down, the Department of Justice took down a sitting senator from New Jersey, Menendez, and now they're taking down the mayor of New York City. New York was supposed to be the worst of it, right? Wasn't that what Trump would have you believe? No, in New York City, it's all just one big liberal cabal, and they're coming after me because they don't like me. Well, and he used to call out Eric Adams by name. He's in charge of everything. They don't want me here in New York. I can't get a fair trial. Well, look, they came after him. Let's just fucking admit that criminals are getting popped, okay? Lousy, lazy, and incompetent criminals at whatever level of your chosen political party, they're getting caught, okay? Two very high-profile Democrats to go with the shit that's going against Trump. But Trump would have you believe, and all of my MAGA friends would have you believe, that they only do this to Republicans. It's insane. Cuomo's another one. Frank points out. Took down, but Cuomo wasn't the feds, was it? Was Cuomo? I thought Cuomo was maybe a state thing. I don't know. Anyway, there you have it. Eric Adams, the mayor of New York City, has been taken down. 5 counts, 5 indictments, all having to do with relations with money and Turkey. Money that Turkish officials somehow funneled illegally into his election campaign. We'll see. We'll see where that goes. It was a Santa Barbara. Where was this? I don't know where this story was yesterday, but it was crazy. All I could think of was, I'm in my rewatch. I'm in my rewatch of Sons of Anarchy. It's the craziest show. God, I love this show. I don't feel great about loving it, but I love it. It's so much fun. So there was a big news story that came out yesterday afternoon, and I thought to myself, well, this is some flat-out Sons of Anarchy nonsense. There was an explosion in a courthouse in California, like 180 miles, I think it says here, north of Los Angeles, so rural, sort of Central Valley, California, exactly where the Sons of Anarchy are from. Man threw explosive device inside California courthouse on day of his arraignment. Okay, so we know what happened. But when it was being reported in the hours that followed before we knew all this stuff, it was straight up Sons of Anarchy stuff. It was bombs exploding, in people throwing bombs in a courthouse in, where is it? Santa Maria, California, which is just not something that happens except on Sons of Anarchy. It says here, a man allegedly threw an explosive device inside a California courthouse on Wednesday, injuring 5 people. This the same day that he was set to be arraigned on firearms violations. Well, so is he is he innocent? Like, is he claiming he's innocent? A guy is like, what do you mean firearms violations? I didn't do anything. I'm a law-abiding citizen. Next day he throws up, or he shows up with a bomb that he just chucks in the courtroom. I'm still pleading innocent to the other charge, though. The explosion was reported around 8:48 a.m. Wednesday at the Santa Maria courthouse in Santa Barbara County. The suspect, what's the county in Sons of Anarchy? San Joaquin. That's right. San Joaquin County is where Sons of Anarchy is. Charming, the city, but San Joaquin. Charming is not a real city. San Joaquin is a real county. Charming is not real. However, they do make mention of other cities, neighboring cities like Lodi and Sacramento and Oakland and all that. So Charming not real, but all the other points of reference are. The suspect allegedly lunged through the courthouse doors and tossed a small bag past the weapons screening station, and the bag exploded as it hit the floor. Outside of the local arraignment room, Daryl Parker, the court executive officer, told ABC News that five people suffered non-life-threatening injuries from the explosion, including burns, according to Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Office. Now, here's the suspect. The suspect, identified by the sheriff's office as 20-year-old Nathaniel McGuire, will be booked on multiple local charges, including attempted murder. He's 20 years old, 20-year-old kid. This is the kind of bullshit a dirtbag, white trash 20-year-old kid does. I'm going to throw a bomb. First of all, what kind of bomb is that? What is any of my munitions experts hanging out in the chat room? Can you tell me what could be in a bag that you would just throw and it would explode? That sounds pretty cool, actually. I don't know what that is. Is that like what pirates used to use? Pirates have these flaming bags of some sort of Game of Thrones. I think Game of Thrones calls it dragon fire. Like that's something they used. And what did this dude throw? Can somebody tell me? Well, this damn thing is broken. I keep going back to my Zoom. All right. So there you go. That was yesterday. It's been announced that there is going to, what timing, right? What timing? It's been announced that there's going to be a big Diddy documentary on Netflix. Netflix has confirmed yesterday that they are in production on this new big multi-episode special documentary on Diddy and all these charges and all the problems and the history of Diddy and the history of the party. And it's all being produced by 50 Cent. That's right. 50 Cent. 50 Cent. Does 50 Cent? I'm not up on my who hates who in the world of rap music, especially, personalities from the 90s. But are 50 and Diddy, are they like, no compadre? Are they like not good? Are they not? I don't know. Do they dislike each other? Did they shoot each other once? I don't think Diddy's ever been shot, right? Diddy's been shot a bunch of times. I don't think Diddy has. Anyway, moving forward, that Diddy doc coming to Netflix. They have now announced it. Yep, we're behind it. It's going to be big. Diddy doc made by Fiddy, going to be on Netflix. Hey, why does everybody hate Katy Perry? I'm wondering about this. Katy Perry has been trending for like the last week. I guess, does she have she got a new album or something? I mean, I don't care. I honestly, Katy Perry, I'm done. What is she, like a 45-year-old woman now in a halter top? So I just stop it. I'm done. I don't need, she seems nice, but I'm not really, right? She's not relevant to me. Katy Perry is not relevant. And apparently, she may not be relevant to many others as well. There's an inexplicable wave of shade being tossed in the direction of Katy Perry recently, and there doesn't seem to be really a reason for it other than she put out a new album. Does it suck? Is that a problem? Let's get into this. It says, when people talk about the sparkly vodka-sloshed sound of pop in the 2000s, an era of music that's romanticized a lot lately, the names of two men tend to come up. Max Martin and Dr. Luke. Who the fuck? Because the producers helped shape many of the biggest songs of the new millennium, and because they've often worked together, they're frequently discussed in the same breath. But Katy Perry's new Luke-driven dud of an album, yes, the sister just like, her album sucks. Dud of an album, 143, is an opportunity to examine these producers' separate outlooks and reckon with I don't care. I'm not going to read this whole thing. Anyway, people are shitting on Katy Perry. And what has she done? Are we just shitting on her because it's her turn in the barrel? Or is there a reason that we're all of a sudden, because the criticisms of her just for putting out an album that some people don't like seems to be pretty harsh. Anyway, Katy Perry. What else do we have here? The Cure is back. Who's excited about The Cure? Cure is back. The Cure is apparently putting out a new album. It was leaked on the BBC this morning, and so the internets are getting all crazy. Apparently, The Cure haven't put out new material since 2008. Let's see if we can get a listen here. Hold on. Let's listen to a little bit of the new Cure as it debuted this morning. shocking everyone. People were shocked. People didn't know. People were like, what? There's new Cure music? I didn't realize that there was a clamoring for new Cure music. I mean, I'm okay with it, but I'm an old guy. I didn't think I was relevant at all. Like, if you told me, you said Cure's got a new album, I'd be like, okay, let me hear it. But I didn't think anybody else would feel that way. But yeah, apparently a lot of people love the Cure. Here you go. This is a taste of the new Cure song. It's called Alone. Here we go. As it was leaked on the BBC this morning.
This is the end of every song that we sing. The fire burned out to ash, and the stars grown dim with tears.
All right. I don't know what to make of that. It's a little bit. Here's what I'll say. Sounds exactly like The Cure. That's one of those bands. Although I would have said this about Van Halen too. I would have said that, but I was proven wrong with Van Halen. If The Cure lost Robert Smith, right? I mean, look, the musical sound is very unique. They've got that band has a very unique sound, but the singer, the vocals, man, that dude's vocals are like so different, so unique, you know? Anyway, there you go. That's new Cure music. Peter says, is it Peter? Hold on, it says, yeah, Peter says, I read Oasis is coming to Chicago. Oh, can they come to Dallas? Can we do that? Can we get them at AT&T? Come on. Although, you know, here's the problem though. Of course, you know, Oasis, they've announced they're getting back together in a big tour, and I'm very excited about it because I love Oasis, but also realistically going, I probably won't see the tour, but I'd like to. They have announced that they're going to expand past the original 6 shows that they'd announced. I stand by. Did they make Dublin? Wait, when are they playing? I don't even know if the tour has started yet. Anyway, I said that they wouldn't make the 6th show of the initial 6 that they announced. Now they've gone ahead and said, we're going to make it even more, and we're going to do a U.S. tour. I'd love it if Oasis would come to Dallas. I think that would be cool. Some thoughts on The Cure. Let's see here. Open for me at the Viper Room. I don't know what Rob's talking about. Rob, aka Witch Kitty, says KT opened. Oh, Katy Perry. Oh, are you talking about Katy Perry? Says Katy Perry opened for me at the Viper Room before she was Katy Perry. Cool. I'm sorry, I've lost my place here with the chat. I want to address some of these things. Hello. Barney asks, is there Katy Perry Taylor Swift beef? I don't know. I'd be into watching that though. Slap fight between the bikini slap fight. That'd be hot. Nina says Robert Smith still running around with the crazy hair and makeup. I know. I there was a recent interview with him. He looks exactly the same, except now he just looks like a little old man with like crazy white pancake makeup. It's not. Robert Smith could like fucking trend number 1 if he just totally changes his look, you know, and shows up looking like, I don't know, David Byrne or something, a little suit and slicked back hair. Yeah, that's funny, Nina. You recognize that too. I saw him recently and I'm like, ooh, Robert Smith, come on, man. Get away from that look. That look the look didn't work in 1984. It didn't work then. It stood out then as being weird and like outside the lines of what was socially acceptable, and you made it your own and you made it your thing. Time to go like Metallica in 2000. Cut your hair. Time for you to cut your hair and change the whole look. Adam has a little information about the Katy Perry thing. He says it has to do with Dr. Luke. He says, read up about Dr. Luke. You'll understand the backlash. What's ass grabber? Is that what he is? Is he one of these guys that somehow everyone thinks should be Me Too? Did he do something like that? Is that the deal? Like, is there blowback against her for working with a guy who has been, I don't know. Like I said, I'm unfamiliar. So, all right, let's go. Let's see. What else do we have here? 3 cups of coffee. How about this? 3 cups of coffee. All right, this I thought was an interesting study today. They say drinking 3 cups of coffee a day is linked to preventing multiple diseases, including heart disease. I thought coffee was bad for you. I thought that's why everybody drinks decaf coffee, or, I can't have that. But apparently it says here, a new study suggests that your morning brew might be doing more than just perking you up. It could be protecting you from a range of serious heart conditions. Researchers working with the Endocrine Society have found that drinking a moderate amount of coffee, 3 cups, they say 3 cups a day. Sounds like a lot, doesn't it? Researchers working with the Endocrine Society have found that drinking a moderate amount of coffee is associated with a lower risk of developing multiple cardiometabolic heart disease. Just go with that. 3 cups of coffee, this new study says, helps limit the risks of heart disease. There you go. I got a Zoomer. Some of you got Zoomers? I got a Zoomer. A 15-year-old Zoomer, and I mention this all the time. They speak a language that is crazy. I don't know. I know that every parent of other generations, even our parents, trying to raise Gen Xers, we probably said things that they were confused by. Gnarly, I don't know what the hell we would have said. What are some Gen X terms? It doesn't matter. They haven't stood the test of time. We don't use them anymore. But Gen Zers, and I think it's because of being raised on, well, 2 things: being raised in a primarily a culture that is primarily driven by urban hip hop. If you're young in America, your primary cultural driver is based in some form of urban music or hip hop music. Okay, so there's that, and we know that urban hip hop culture has introduced a lot of phrases and a lot of fun ways of saying things. Snoop with his shizzle and all of that kind of stuff. So they grew up in that era. There's that era where that's already out there, but also the internet, where there's a lot of like changing of words and, to make them fit because you limited characters or whatever. So there's a whole new language. There's a whole new way of communicating that these kids communicate via text and via messaging. But then when they come out in the real world and they start flapping their gums and talking to you, you realize it's like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, kid. My kid ate something once and he said it was bussin'. And I'm like, well, what does that mean? And he's like, it means it's bussin'. And I go, I don't know what bussin' means. Sucks to be you. I'm like, tell me what bussin' means. Anyway, there's a whole bunch of these. So this is funny. This comes from our friends, Dallas, Texas TV on Twitter. Great follow, Dallas, Texas TV. Fun stuff. This comes from the Dallas Zoo. Apparently, this is a promotional thing that the Dallas Zoo is doing, like a video set out to remind people to, hey, come to the Dallas Zoo. And it's called Zoomer Slang. Okay. So what we're looking at here, these are a couple of old folks from the Dallas Zoo. A couple of old folks from the Dallas Zoo, and they're going to be communicating in what would be the Zoomer lingo. Now, if you've got a kid like I got a 15-year-old, so if you got a kid that's somewhere in there, maybe you'll recognize some of these terms. Here we go. This is from the Dallas Zoo, Zoomer slang. Make sure I got the sound up. There we go. Sound is good.
What up, chat? Vibe check at the Dallas Zoo.
Bet.
Bet.
Main character energy.
Check the swag.
Slaps. Is it bussin', Janelle?
No cap.
See, okay,
Drip
wait.
on point.
Hold on. That I don't know what that means. Is it bussin' Janelle? And then what did she say? No cap. No fucking idea what that means. What is no cap? Is no cap good? I go over this one a lot. My kid says that a lot. I still don't know what it means. I feel so old.
Slaps. Is it bussin', Janelle?
No cap. Drip on point. Silent Riz. Sylvie understood the assignment.
Okay, so he said that a bunch of times too. Using the phrase "I understood the assignment" or "he understood the assignment." What is that from? What is the etymology of that phrase? How does that? They use it a lot. And what is Riz? What is Riz? I'm always hearing the word Riz. I don't know what Riz is.
It's giving best day ever.
It's giving best day ever. That's not a fucking sentence. Where is the context to that? Why am I?
Very cutesy, very mindful.
Very demure.
Stay vibey.
Okay. All right. There you go. Very nice, old people. Thank you so much. I have no idea what any of that was. Let's see. Which kitty? Rob says no capital letters. No, not important. So no cap means not important. Bussin means good. Well, Jeff says no cap means not lying. Rob says that no cap means not important. That sounds more likely. No cap. No. Oh, Jeff said no cap, not lying. Like they would. Yeah. Okay. No, I did. I put the laundry away. No cap. Like he said it like that. So that would support Jeff. Bussin is apparently good. I don't know. I don't really care. I don't care. I use real words. I use the Queen's English when I try to communicate with my son, especially on the important things. So we don't need that. Let's talk about this. Here's a big story, a sad story, a wonderful story. One of my favorite people of all time. Well, not people, because I don't really, this is true. Look at me overstating things again. Certainly one of my favorite Chicago Bulls of all time. He comes in the top 5 of my favorite Chicago Bulls of all time. I'm going through my top 5. I'm like, yeah, he's definitely in there. I don't know if he's going to be 3 or 4. He's somewhere in there, the 3 or 4 range there of my favorite Chicago. Derrick Rose, D Rose, has announced that he is retiring from the NBA. Derrick Rose, your 2011 MVP, 2008 number 1 overall pick out of Memphis to his hometown Chicago Bulls. Derrick Rose, rookie of the year, perennial all-star until, of course, he had that terrible incident with his knee in 2012. Derrick Rose is one of the most exciting basketball players I've ever seen. Derrick Rose is, look, I'm a bit biased because Derrick Rose is everything that we Chicago Bulls fans, and people know I'm a big Bulls fan. It's everything that we Chicago Bulls fan needed to get over Michael Jordan and get over all of that. And what do I mean by what we needed? Well, he was obviously the best player in college. He was obviously the number 1 overall pick in 2008. Derrick Rose looked like he was a budding superstar, but he was also one of our own. He grew up in the neighborhood where the actual stadium was. His first job, Derrick Rose, was parking cars for the Jordan Bulls during games in the 90s. Derrick Rose was, or not parking cars, but if you understood the neighborhood, little black kids from the neighborhood would stand in parking lots and then take like $5 to allow you to park there. And they don't really have any, but essentially what you're paying for is for them not to break into your car. So yeah, Derrick Rose, I guess, was one of those. And that was like his first job. He did that around Chicago Stadium back in the, Jordan days. But he was so good. And if you enjoy, well, I don't know how to say it. You know how high school football is here? Well, in Chicago, and especially on the South Side, that's how high school basketball is. And there's a style of Chicago high school basketball that comes out of that region, and it's a different kind of play, especially when it applies itself to the guard position. And Derrick Rose was like just the greatest example of what we would call a Chicago style guard. Now, what is that? Well, I don't know that it's all that different than a guard from anywhere else, other than the fact that it is honed on playgrounds that sometimes have ice. It is honed on surface. It's an outdoor style of guard play where you slash, you get there first, you move, you don't use the entire court. Derrick Rose played that way. And you could see him. He drove to the hoop like it was December and there was ice. And everybody was just going to slip around him. He was a quintessential Chicago basketball player, Chicago-style high school basketball player. And we loved him. And it turned out he was really fucking good. And then his knee blew out. And I'll never forget, was it Easter? Was it Easter or was it the next game Easter? But I'll never forget. I thought it was Easter. So maybe I will forget. I'll never forget. Wait, I forgot. I just remember watching him. I just remember watching him when he went down and thinking, oh, shit. Oh, shit. Get back up, Derek. Oh, shit. Oh, he'll be fine. And then you start telling yourself stuff like, oh, he'll be fine. He'll just, okay, so he's not going to be back for this series, but he'll be back. If we win this series, he can be back for that. Derek Rose was never the same again. He is the closest thing to Gale Sayers. Chicago's got a couple of these. Gale Sayers, in my estimation, would be the greatest running back of all time in NFL history if he hadn't blown his knee out in an era where doctors had no fucking idea how to repair a knee. That's Gale Sayers. His career was completely cut short. Derek Rose, very similar. And also someone that we Chicago sports fans have had our heart broken by. And just to see him battle back and to go on and play a 18-year career where a number of times he's one of the damn near best six men off the bench. You get a healthy Derek Rose off the bench for a couple of minutes. That's going to help. Just a real sad story. Anyway, Derek Rose is retiring from the NBA after 18 seasons. The first four seasons had him on a trajectory to be a first ballot Hall of Famer and one of the all-timers in the game. Injuries, man. Injuries suck. He was never quite the same. Quiet kid. The city turned on him, if I'm being honest. The city turned... Actually, to hear like real Bulls fans tell you, the city never turned on Derek. The city turned on Derek's brother. Apparently, Derek's brother started talking shit, and it kind of blew back on Derek Rose. I would have loved for him to finish his career with the Bulls, do one of those one-day contracts. Who knows? Maybe that's still an option. But instead, he went out as a part of the Memphis Grizzlies last season. Derek Rose, D Rose, love that kid. All right. Oh, does the Bull? Oh, is this? Oh, hold on. Here, I just got sent this. Apparently, the Bulls themselves have put out a thing for Derek. Let's watch this. This is the Chicago Bulls saying goodbye to Derek Rose, one of their own. Going to retire that number, put it up in the rafters. He's not a Hall of Famer. He's not. That's unfortunate. That's, because he would have been a Hall of Famer if he hadn't blown his knee out. It's too bad. But he's a hell of a player, and because of those first 4 years and for what he meant to an entire generation of Chicago Bull fans, especially kids that are in their 30s and early 40s now that watched him and Joe Kim Noah and Tom Thibodeau and those teams that they put together, those were fun teams. We thought those teams were going to be absolutely dominant, and then Derek blows his knee out. Here you go. This is how the Chicago Bulls today said goodbye to Derek Rose, retiring after 18 years.
With the first pick in the 2008 NBA Draft, the Chicago Bulls select Derek Rose from the University of Memphis.
I play with my heart. I'm playing on the highest basketball level in my hometown.
36 points and 11 assists for Derek Rose in about as good a rookie playoff debut as you will ever see.
Whoa! Stop it! Stop it! Do not do him like that! Did you not get the memo? Derek Rose can go upstairs.
Why not? Why can't I be the MVP of the league? Why can't I be the best player in the league? I don't see why. Why?
Stop it! I want to go higher!
Here they go.
Rose puts it down!
I'm going to thank my mom. Think about her when she had to wake me up, go to work, just making sure that I'm all right and making sure the family is all right. Those are hard days. My days shouldn't be hard because I love doing what I'm doing, and that's playing basketball.
What a move by Rose! Oh! Yes, and it counts! Fade away. Let me step back and kiss myself. MVP time!
Rose trying to get open, fires away.
Bang! It's over! The Bulls win at the buzzer!
It still is a madhouse on Madison as Derek Rose nails the three. And the Bulls take a 2-1
Yeah. All right. I'm down for that. Very cool. Very cool. Love that kid. All right. Let's see. Derek Rose retires from the NBA after 18 years. Here's what we'll end it with today. I started watching something last night that one of the talk a little bit about. I'll talk a little bit more as I see more of it. Netflix debuted a new docu-series last night on Netflix called Mr. McMahon. I think it's a six-parter, 6 hours, 1 hour each episode. I'm 2 episodes in. I watched 2 last night. Very interesting. Now, here's why I'm not going to go into a whole bunch about it because I've only seen 2 episodes today. I'll share that for later. But I'm not a wrestling fan. So I was never, a lot of my buddies are like huge wrestling fans. They're like, oh, I grew up with this guy and that guy. I mean, I knew them. They were around. I just never watched it. I wasn't a wrestling guy. I don't know why. My friends weren't really wrestling guys. Like the dudes I hung out with, we were really into football and baseball and basketball and getting drunk, that kind of thing. That we weren't really into wrestling. Although I certainly understand that it was massive and it was just something that we as a subset group were not into. When I was really little, like 8, 9, 10 years old, 11 years old, I remember the Saturday afternoon on the UHF dial in Chicago where you could watch, ACW. Was it ACW? Was it American? Whatever it was. But it's where I first saw people like Hulk Hogan, long before he was on, the Rocky movie. You saw Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage and King Kong Bundy and Brutus Beefcake and guys like that. Mean Gene Okerlund. He was long before the WF. He was like doing the local Chicago stuff. It wasn't really local Chicago. There were 3 markets, and we learned this in the new Netflix series, Mr. McMahon, about how there were these territories, and you weren't allowed to. Every region of America had a promoter who promoted wrestling exclusively in that region. Famously, here in Texas, we had the Von Erichs, right? They had this region here in Texas. The region that I grew up with was run by Vern Gagne, who was like a famous wrestler in the 1950s. And the region that I had were essentially Detroit, Chicago, Milwaukee, and Minneapolis. So those gave us the guys like Hulk Hogan and Macho Man and Gene Okerlund and stuff like that. So I was familiar with that. But as I got older, like in the late 80s, the era of, the WWE versus WCW, I was never into that. I never really got into it. But I am interested in the man himself, Vince McMahon, because he's somebody who's, he's in the headlines a lot. He's done some things recently, and I've always sort of considered him to be somebody sketchy, somebody very marginalized guy in my mind. I certainly wouldn't trust anything that came out of Vince McMahon's mouth. I wouldn't buy a car from Vince McMahon if that makes it any. Very similar to the way I feel about Trump. Vince McMahon and Trump seem to be like the same kind of dude. And you either see it or you don't. But this documentary series, Mr. McMahon on Netflix, the first couple of episodes, very interesting. It's very well done. And what I appreciate about it is that it's got a lot of participation from Vince McMahon himself. There's Vince McMahon. I mean, it's not one of these hatchet job things that are going to take him down and that he doesn't even appear in it. No, he's all over this. He is telling his side of shit. And then he tells his side, and then you see like 10 people who tell their side, and it's completely different than his side, but whatever. It's very interesting. I don't think, the reason I'm talking about it is because you don't have to be a wrestling fan. You don't have to be a wrestling fan to watch this or understand it. This is a character study. This is about Mr. McMahon. This is not about wrestling. It is about Vince McMahon and what kind of a person he is. And he's not evil. I don't think he's evil. He's not a bad man. He's a broken man. He's a very broken guy. And that becomes so evident so early on in this thing. He never had any love as a kid. He was raised in dirt poverty. His father, Vince McMahon Sr., ran the territory that had New York City that went all the way up the East Coast. But he wasn't raised by his father. His father had nothing to do with him. He didn't even meet his father until he was 12 years old. And then later, after like college, he went to work for his father, but he wasn't raised by his father. He was raised in like dirt poverty somewhere. And he had no love and no affection. And it was very dog eat dog his entire existence. And he got into the wrestling world where he became this guy who could create any fiction that he wanted. He started to create these storylines about how he and his father and boy and son and all that. But that was never real. There was no love, no kindness, no nothing. It sounds to me like Vince McMahon's dad was kind of an asshole. And there's a really sad scene. And I don't know if this is in episode 1 or episode 2. We're talking about the new Netflix series, Mr. McMahon, about Vince McMahon's life. There's this very telling scene where Vince McMahon talks about the death of his father. And he says, Vince McMahon looks into the camera and he goes, "The night before my father died, he finally pulled me aside and he told me that he loved me. He had never told me that he'd loved me before his entire life. And I'm so glad that I have that. Thank you, Pop." And I'm sitting there watching this thing and I'm going, that didn't happen. That didn't happen. His dad did not, coincidentally, the night. And by the way, it was like, we didn't know he was going to die. It wasn't like he was on his deathbed and then said, "Son, I'm dying. I love you." No, he was fine. And he just said, he was like, coincidentally, it was the night before he passed away suddenly that, he told me that he loved me. No, he didn't. That's a fiction that Vince McMahon wants to be true. Just like all the other fictions and stories that he has created over the years with the WWE, this man lives in a fantasy world created by himself because the actual reality of his existence is so sad and devoid of any kind of love, any kind of loyalty, any kind of... It was like he was raised by wolves and then he went to go, be tuteled by his father who didn't really want anything to do with him. It was the day before he died. My dad told me finally that he loved me. And then Vince is on camera and he's starting to tear up and he's doing this. It's a con man move. And it's just so obvious. And I'm looking at it and I'm going, that didn't happen. This story that you're telling right now isn't true. This is a Vince McMahon story. And that's kind of one of the things that we're learning, that Vince McMahon has this sort of terrible actual reality of who he is, but he has over the years created this fantasy land that has entertained so many people, just filled. Everything about him is half truths and nothing is completely above board. There's always a little bit of, wink, nudge, lie, exaggeration. That's who he is. And it's a fascinating character study. It's called Mr. McMahon. It's on Netflix. Just debuted last night. I believe it's 6 episodes. I watched the first 2. Probably won't watch any more tonight, but I'll certainly be digging into it over the weekend. And you should too. You should too if you're interested in that kind of a thing. It's very interesting. Mr. McMahon on Netflix. All right, guys, that's about it. I don't think I have anything else here. It is 2:06. I've got a football game to get to. I appreciate you. And thank you once again. Our executive producer of today's show is, of course, Chris of the Sports Bras. Do me a favor, you guys. If you find yourself, did Chris tell us where they could, because I don't know how to find Sports Bras. Is it at Sports Bras? I don't know. Follow, help us out, help these people out, help all of us out. We're trying to find and gather together some individual independent talent. And thank you so much to Chris and the Sports Bros. We're going to be doing stuff with him. I'm going to be on his show next week. We just have to nail that down. Folks, that's going to do it. Appreciate you. Have a full update tomorrow. We'll be back here again from the Kelly Moore Memorial Studios in the beautiful E-Gallery. I am Pugs Moran for RadioMisfits.com. Collectively, we call ourselves the Radio Misfits Dallas. Oh my God, totally forgot. I didn't want to get into the full time. Yeah, Cowboys play tonight. Can you believe I didn't even mention the Cowboys playing tonight? Cowboys Giants. I hate to say it. Okay, I can go a little bit on the Cowboys. You want to talk about Cowboys Giants tonight? I'll give you this. It's the 4th week of the season, and we are already in must-win territory for the Cowboys. This is a must-win game. Not necessarily because of the schedule, because there's a lot of games going on, and who knows, it's a crazy league. But as far as this team figuring out who they are, this is a must-win. They have been humiliated for 2 weeks in a row. Now, I know that last week they came back and they made a game of it, and good for them. Dak is going to Dak. So, but the week before against New Orleans, who, by the way, that felt kind of okay. The loss to New Orleans, because we were like, New Orleans is just unstoppable. I haven't seen a team like this since, the Rams, the greatest show on turf. That's who New Orleans is. Now, New Orleans was exposed the next week. New Orleans got beat. So Cowboys got blown out by New Orleans, a team that got beat the next week. And the Cowboys also took it on the chin last week. So we got the Giants. Now, the Giants are a team, they need a win too. But, the Giants, there's not exactly the same amount of pressure. Home game for the Giants. Yep. Cowboys tonight, Thursday Night Football. It's a must win. You got to win. You lose to the, I mean, you're worrying. At this point, you got to start worrying about the morale of the team. I mean, you string 2 games together like you just did. You got 2 losses that, I bet when you looked at the season, those were wins, weren't they? Maybe not Baltimore. Maybe Baltimore was, some of you a little more considered when you look into your schedules. Oh, I think we're going to be a 10-win team. You may have had them losing to Baltimore, but a lot of you had that as a win. That's a win at home. We don't lose at home. No. Now you got to factor that in. You got to factor New Orleans in. Everybody had New Orleans as a win. In this Giants game, this Giants game, every single one of you, when you predicted your season for the Cowboys, every single one of you had the Cowboys winning tonight over the Giants. And that's why I'd say it's a must win. It's a must win for morale. It's a must win for the psyche of the fan base. And you know what we need tonight? And here's what I'm hoping we're going to get. An absolute motherfucking blowout. I want to see 67 points put up by the Cowboys. I want to see the Cowboys defense shut down that steaming pile of garbage being driven by Daniel Jones. I want to see a humiliation of the New York Giants tonight. Anything less, like if the Cowboys just eke out a win, like if it comes down to a field goal at the very end, if that's how the Cowboys win, I'm not going to feel real good about that, and neither are any of you. So, yeah, I would say in some level, we're only at week 4. This is a must-win for the Cowboys. Otherwise, it's panic time. See you tomorrow. Bye, everybody.